Okay, so one of my students wanted to lighten this photo and um, lighten up the eyes a little bit so that there was a little bit more depth and um, 3D dimension to the image than what's seen here, where the lighting's a little bit off. It's a little bit um, better exposed to the shark on his shirt than his eyes. Whenever you guys are metering, it's okay to meter off of the cheek. Um, it's also okay to meter off of the eyes. Um, the catch lights here are fairly good. The one on the camera right is a little bit better in his eye than the camera left, but we'll run through this really quick. Um, if I hold down my Alt key on a Windows computer, on a PC, it will completely either make the image black or white when I'm using my blacks slider over here on the right or my exposure slider over here on the right. So hold down the Alt key. Well, first I would do white balance. Um, I'm adjusting white balance. I'm just going to get it. Alright. So blacks. It's a little bit pink actually, but that's okay. I try to always have a true black and always have a true white, but now if you will look up here, this histogram is okay. It's a little bit on the, well, so down here are, if you'll, when I slide this, it all slides towards the left side of the histogram. So down here's your blacks, up here's your whites. Some of you wanted to know how to turn on highlights. If you click on the triangles at the top, you can turn on your highlights where they turn red on any blown out parts. Um, if you're backlighting, this histogram it won't look like this. Every histogram's different, but this histogram's okay. You still have the bell-shaped curve, although it is still a little bit on the dark side versus the light side. You have a blown out part in his shirt. I'm not too concerned about it because people shouldn't be watching his shirt. They should be watching his face. And at this point, you've only made two setting changes anyway, so um, usually I'll also add a bit of recovery, and when you do that, the blown out portion goes away anyway. Um, you can try for his eyes to add a little bit of fill light. Um, the blacks are your darks, exposures are whites. Recovery is more so when it pulls back into um, when it pulls your highlights back down, um, and then fill light boosts your shadows a little bit. Um, then after adjusting those four, I would take a look and see if white balance needs to be corrected at all. Um, Brightness and contrast. I don't believe PSE 10.9. I don't believe that they have these adjustments in ACR, but your contrast is a quick and easy way to adjust your tone curve, highlights, lights, dark shadows. So at this point, if I wanted to, I would pull back down the highlights. Be careful about pulling down highlights. That adjusted his cheeks a little bit, but you don't want to turn them gray. If you need a little bit more contrast, you can knock down the shadows. Um, the contrast does that kind of a shortcut. Brightness, the difference in brightness and exposure. Exposure is brightening your brights. Brightness is brightening the entire image. So this is at 0.65 and this is at 50. So if I move up your brightness, everything is going to get brighter. If I move up my exposure, everything is brighter, but it concentrates on the brights. So it's going to concentrate on his hair, his cheeks, and then you can pull up 13. You can pull up. See how when you do it that way, you kind of lose some of the detail and it kind of turns a little bit gray. Now, you can find a medium between those two. Just because I edit one way doesn't mean you have to. Alright, so you've brightened it from the original image. You brightened it. Usually for a face being the subject, I lower my clarity a little bit. You don't have to. You can sharpen it. Just be careful if you boost your clarity. Whenever you do it, you are on 100% zoom, not what I'm on, which is 28, because you want to be able to see where your details change. PSE does have this. Now, in the noise reduction, I believe they just have luminance and color. I don't think they have all the details, but I always 10 to 25-ish. Even if you can't see the noise, I always noise reduce. If there is noise, I do a little bit more, but I would zoom in a lot further. And then there's also this is also on PSE 10, where you can enable your lens profiles. I would go ahead and do it. I don't do it on every image, but if I'm going to print it, I do. I choose my lens. I'm not seeing it. Oop, there it is. And that's good enough for me. Alright, so open image in Photoshop. And then very quickly, the eyes. 3 steps. You're going to use a dodge and burn tool. Shortcut O, the letter O on your keyboard will toggle through the dodge, burn, and sponge. In your Photoshop versions, it's over on the left-hand side. PSE, I believe it's down at the very bottom of your tool menu. Photoshop, it's over here on the left. You can also get to it through your menus at the top. But so I usually burn first. Zoom in so you can see the eyes. You're going to go to I usually use a fairly light feathered brush. These are your hard brushes where your hardness is all the way at 100. These are your feathered brushes. I pretty much always go for a feather brush. Exposure. Alright, so create a new layer. Always, always, always work on new layers. You can double click the layer and change what it's called. I usually layer my layers. Work with a small brush. Doesn't really have to be super exact because it's feathered and you're going to lighten it more. And then I usually, when I'm doing the pupils, 1, 2, 3, 4, and make it more realistic by making your circles smaller as you darken. Then I'm going to switch over to the dodge tool. You have shadows, midtones, and highlights. You can do highlights if you want. You can do midtones if you like. Usually do 2 sweeps on highlights and then switch back to midtones. I'm kind of overdoing it a little bit purposely so that I can show you something different in a second. And then I throw a quick sharpen over it. Alright, when you zoom out, you went from this to this. This is a little bit dark. This is a little bit fake. So, on your layers palette, you're going to drop down the opacity. You can also do the fill. I usually try to do opacity first and then fine tune with fill because it's a little less dramatic, but that is turned off, and that is at 56%. So you can still brighten that if you want to, but just very, very quickly. That's usually how I do it. Um, and it takes next to no time at all. Um, Let me open it up in Camera Raw one more time, and I'll go through it and do it without talking. All right, so you can, if you want to restore your image defaults, you can go up to restore camera defaults. All right, so here's what I would do. At this point, if you have eyelashes starting to come through, you can also run it over those to increase the contrast a little bit and make those stand out a little bit more. Oh, I forgot to create a new layer. Well, okay, so that took a minute and a half, and I forgot to create a new layer. So I would go back and delete everything and start over. But had I created a new layer, that took a minute and a half or less. So there you go. I would then decrease the eyes a little bit, 50% or so, and you're done.